Hello, everybody. Very excited to be here today with Amaresh. I'm Deepesh Hiran, Managing Director at AuxoAI. Amaresh is one of the founders at AuxoAI and has been a friend and a mentor for more than a decade now. So Amaresh, really excited to be sitting here with you today for this fun and informal conversation. Over the years, you have mentored me so well and inspired me in so many ways. And all our conversations have been so much fun. So I thought, why keep all the wisdom and fun to ourselves and share with the wider audience. So with that context, get started. Maybe start with something which is, of lot of interest to you. So out of all the hundreds of books that you've read, which one do you think is your favorite, and any lesson that you want to share with the audience from there?
No, one, this is the first time we probably have thousands of conversation and we're recording it for the first time. So it's so much fun to do that. It's like asking about a favorite book is like asking about a favorite child. There are many for many for many seasons and very contexts. If there is one book which I think, if I would kind of just say, not right now, they're like earlier in my career, which I go back, read and again, and kind of I really enjoy. It's actually the biography of Richard Feynman. It's kind of Adventures of a Curious Character. He was he was an American physicist who won a Nobel Prize and did a lot of work with Challenger disaster. He actually was in the commission solving the Challenger disaster. But I think the thing I really like about it is this notion of curiosity, right? And curiosity and the fact that there are no boundaries of knowledge. He used to do painting, he played the bongo, he did physics. And he had a very colorful life apart from that. And how can you kind of bring it all together in a fun way? I think, again, that's probably has been the most influential book for personally for me. And I read it probably when I was in starting of the high school, and that has kind of influenced a lot of things, at least in my thinking.
So anything you want to share as a lesson for everybody around the book?
Don't take yourself too seriously. That's number one. Second is, if you are curious, and if you kind of go and focus on any topic you are curious about, you can be very good very quickly on things. Like 90% of any kind of field you can get there if you put a sustained effort. The last 10% is a completely different thing, but 90% is good enough in many cases. Then this whole notion around, this was about physics, but like the scientific understanding and thinking, put it in any context, whether it's arts or whether it's technology or whether it's history, like archaeology, anything, kind of leads to very interesting things. And obviously, in our context, we are thinking about business problems for enterprises in most of the time. So most of my career, I have done that. But it's the same concept: is you're going to put in a scientific rigor and good problem solving in a problem. It leads to value. It leads to new things.
Wonderful. So you read it in high school?
I read it in high school, and probably I've read like 30 more times. I probably gifted 50 copies of it for different points. Yes.
Nice. Fantastic. So, okay, let me move to Oxo. So, founding a company is usually associated with a lot of stress.
Yeah.
But during this last journey of about 2.5 years, what has been the most fun, unexpected moment that, you didn't foresee coming?
Most fun, unexpected, this whole journey is filled with both fun moments and unexpected moments. Sometimes they don't go together. That's the kind of the life of in a startup, which you face all the time too. There's a lot of fun, a lot of unexpected things. I think the most fun moment, in some ways, there was anticipated. Not so much unexpected, has been working with the team and people I've always wanted to work with, right? And that's a special pleasure, and kind of setting up a culture. We have this whole culture of SWAN, people who are smart, who work hard, who are ambitious and nice. To be able to set a culture and build a team around it, not only the people I knew, but the newer people who are joining Oxo, who we don't know from previous life, has been just been an amazing thing about. That's kind of a very simple concept, and the kind of the culture it kind of creates, where there is a lot of hunger to go and figure things out, but at the same time you do it while having fun and being respectful to each other and to everyone else around you. I think that's something I'm very grateful to about. I think that's probably the right word for it. Uh, Unexpected things happen all the time when you're in a startup, but the unexpected pleasant things that has happened is probably more personal, which is how so my son is interested in AI right now, and that is probably not something I anticipated, and not that I have to encourage him to kind of go and do that. I mean, he's like a middle schooler, and he sees what is kind of going on, and I can see him as he in an interesting phase in his life. He's imbibing. Oh, what does it mean to start a business? What is new technology about? I think it drives his curiosity in different ways because he's seen me in very different contexts in the past. It's really a really fun and pleasure to see that, which I had not anticipated as much. The work side of it, the less unexpected are in different types, but that's a very, very pleasant, unexpected thing.
Yeah, that's so true. I can already see him being a budding entrepreneur at this stage.
I don't know what entrepreneur.
Like
Same
really
with my daughter,
exciting.
actually. Same with my daughter. So both
Yeah,
of them
yeah.
have kind of picked up different aspects of it. So
Yeah.
that's pretty cool.
And how about Shalini? So when you first told her about the AuxoAI journey, or that experience, like, was she excited about it? What was the first reaction to this? First reaction.
She was not surprised. Is that the first time when you leave a big executive role and kind of go and do the startup journey, a 0 to 1 journey, and from a probably what you have been to a 10 to 100 journey. It's obviously a very different implication. I mean, and startups are not only you're doing it with your teams, your families are core part of it. But she was not surprised. I mean, it's because it's been on my mind for a very, very long period of time. And secondly, everyone knew what was going on in AI. So it was like so that was not surprised. I mean, obviously her general concerns of like what a spouse would have around thinking about spending enough time with the family and kind of making sure you're around, and like the stress and health. I mean, those things just very obvious questions that are there. But no, super supportive, and I mean, she's I mean, and that actually helps a lot when your spouse is kind of really behind you and kind of and thinking along with you. That makes a huge difference.
That's so true. I can totally relate to that. But I mean, after starting AuxoAI, does she feel anything has really changed for her?
She thinks I'm happier.
So then she's happier.
I'm smiling a lot more. So yeah, I mean,
That's fantastic. That's a very good change. Okay, so shifting gears. So, I mean, so what are the 2-3 trends in the industry that you see, Amaresh, which makes you feel that this is the right time for AuxoAI?
I mean, the big there are 2 or 3. I mean, the mega trend is, I think it's probably once in a generation trend, right? I mean, which is, I mean, we are obviously focused on AI in the enterprise. I mean, as a technology and the impact it will have on society beyond just the enterprises also. I mean, I think in the last 50 years, maybe internet is kind of as big, if that, but there isn't anything else. So if you think about number mega trend that we are kind of going after, that we are focused on, is that. And 2 years ago when we were doing it, I think there were still questions around, hey, is this going to be like, interesting technology but less use cases, and will there be adoption? I think those questions are behind, right? So from that perspective, that's like trend number 1. So then the second aspect, which is like, how does it impact the enterprises? And enterprises have always is a hard job of kind of running the business and making it profitable. And with AI kind of, or any new technology, trying to change either both how you kind of the entire income statement of your company in some ways, from how you sell to how you do the work, to how you market. If all of that thing is going to be impacted by AI, they have a big challenge about how do they run the existing business and create the new at the same time. And for that, they would need partners, which is kind of where AuxoAI kind of like technology and partners. That's what they'll need. So that's kind of the second trend is like, and that's why it's kind of is a little bit slower compared to the consumer because they have to figure that aspect out. And the third aspect, which is even more tactical, if you double click on that, is there's a whole host of questioning that will happen on everything. Like, what is a service? What is a product? What should be a SaaS model? How should I buy it? I mean, these are like real questions as they think about the new, and it takes time to get organized around it and to think about it. So that I think is the I would say those three are the big trends in terms of what will change enterprises and how they adopt AI.
Okay, and does the speed of change scare you or excites you? How do you feel
Speed
about
of
that?
technology change is super exciting. Intellectually, it's super exciting. Our job is to filter, organize, build capabilities in and around the core technology that is getting developed to make it useful. So the pace and change of like useful and value for enterprises, I think is just beginning. I mean, it'll be massive. It'll just add up and compound, and it'll be a non-linear, maybe an exponential curve. And those things are just hard to get your head around. So yeah, I mean, it's super exciting intellectually. On the value side of it, yeah, we want to be on the forefront to drive it even faster. But yeah, it doesn't scare me. It doesn't scare me. It's like probably one of the best things that are going on.
Okay, wonderful. So, Amresh, you've had so many superpowers. One superpower that you really wanted to have that you lack right now, what would it be?
I'm at a time, it's like where I focus on doubling down on the superpowers I have rather than making up for the superpowers I don't.
But something you aspire for, something you feel you really wanted to have.
Listen, those will be more personal than anything else. I mean, I wish I was more disciplined about exercising. I wish I was more disciplined about sleeping. So those are the superpowers. I see people who are like really good at those kind of things around kind of, which it's obvious, you need to take care of your health and your body and kind of everything else before anything else. Well, people who are just much more dedicated about it. I wish that would probably be that. I don't think that's probably an answer you're looking for, but yeah, that's probably what I wish the superpower I had.
Yeah, exercising is common for us.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. It is common.
Okay, let's shift gears to probably something more interesting, Amaresh. So what we're going to do is, we'll do a rapid fire with you. So short answers,
Okay.
2-3 words, and we'll do. Okay, so we'll start with the easy ones. Favorite vacation spot?
Chile.
Okay.
Like Patagonia.
Yeah. Okay. Favorite corner of the house?
My office, actually.
Happiness is?
Freedom to choose.
Fantastic. Most scared of?
Lots of things. Snakes, heights.
A book you're reading right now?
I am right now reading a book on Vedic astrology.
What's the name of the book?
It's one of the kind of principles of Vedic astrology.
Okay.
It's one of the kind of the core. It's kind of a core. It's kind of a textbook more than anything else.
Okay. Dream offsite location for Oxo next year?
This year or next year?
Next year.
Next year. Whatever you choose. You decide that.
Anything comes to your mind? Dream location?
I will. No. Maybe. I would say maybe the mountains somewhere in the Himalayas.
Okay. Fantastic. A food you crave the most?
Rajma chawal.
Yeah, that I can imagine you being a Delhi boy. Purpose of life?
Figuring out yourself.
Lesson for Neil and Meera?
Think independently.
Okay. And message for Kabir and Arvinder?
I mean, don't change. Be what you are. It's a lot of fun.
That is so true. Fantastic. Okay, so back to our longer chat, Amresh. So what is the AI use case that you feel most excited about right now?
Again, it's hard to kind of just choose one thing. I would just do the category. So if you think about, there are use cases that are, I'll give you the framework answer, not a specific answer. But there are use cases where uh, enterprises are thinking about, hey, what should I do to kind of get ready for AI? There are use cases that enterprises think about, how do I accelerate what I'm doing? So they think about like AI as an automation tool, and it really is. I mean, it's an automation plus plus. But then there are use cases where folks are thinking about, uh, how do I reimagine something that I'm doing completely, kind of rethink it. So one example of some of the use cases, all the reimagining use cases are fascinating because that's kind of a sign of things to come. What I've been fascinated by some of the work that we've been doing with a couple of our clients around how do they reimagine market research? Why do I actually need to do a survey or a focus group with people? Can I use the digital twins? Can I use synthetic data to kind of do that work? And it really cuts down the thing, and it's appropriate for like many types of confirmatory market research that gets done, where people spend literally like lots of money on it. So it's kind of rethinking at a very base level. How should I rethink market research? Those kind of things are a lot of fun. And again, I mean, I think that will happen everywhere. How should I rethink, like, what should a salesperson do? What should a supply chain manager do, right? As you start thinking about different processes and rethink it, all of those things are a lot of fun because they are not only technology. It's also thinking about the wider implications on organization, incentives, people, processes, and what it means. And just being at the forefront of that is just wild.
So just the reimagination of workflows across different functions and industries, something you feel excited about?
That is the most exciting part, because I think that because we are seeing the early green shoots of how pretty much everything going to be in 10 years. I think a lot of things will get reimagined.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, shifting gears again to a little bit personal side. So how do you generally recharge after a long, intense day?
Oh yeah, you don't want to know.
Instagram,
YouTube, not Instagram. A little more your YouTube, and it's like a very random, varied set of things. Reading, of course, is there.
Yeah.
I mean, reading is there. I kind of do a lot of YouTube and kind of catching up with friends, and kind of like catching up with friends, and kind of like our home is always kind of filled with people like kind of coming and going. So yeah, it's kind of the same set of things that.
Do you any time do you ever do anything which quote unquote could be called waste of time by normal people around you?
No. I mean, all of this thing is the way I think. Well, ask my wife; she will tell you it's all waste of time.
That is true. The perspectives will change. Okay, so Amresh, if you could go back to start of your career, what are the 2-3 things that you would want to tell the next generation in terms of what are the things they could do differently, and probably what are the learnings from that perspective?
Not differently, but like I'll just tell you things that I think I learned a lot later, which I wish I did earlier.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure there are things I haven't learned even now. But number one is just understanding. When you start working, and I accidentally got into the world of business. That's a completely different thing. But I never really understood, if you're an enterprise or if you're in a corporation or whatever, whichever organization it is, understanding what is the organization about, how they make money, how they think about kind of how does the machine work, right? Is actually a very important skill or a very important thing that if you understand, then are you putting your efforts in the right direction or not, and what are the right efforts, and I mean, it just helps a lot. And early in a career, I mean, I'd certainly, I mean, maybe other people have, most people actually struggle with that, but I didn't even have an awareness to think about that. And I wish I did. I wish I did, I would have probably been kind of more useful earlier to a lot more people. Right? That I think is one. Second is the importance of relationships, right? And I'm not calling it network, because network sounds like business transactions, but how you treat your coworkers, how you treat your clients, how you treat your bosses, how you treat your juniors. What you lay down the foundation of in your career in your 20s and 30s impacts how good your career will be in 40s and 50s, right? And it's a very simple thing. So, which is why the SWAN thing we kind of really care. We care about that N and nice, because it's not only for Oxo. It's not about for us and like there. I think anyone who kind of follows that philosophy, I think will have longer, more fulfilling, fun careers with that kind of a philosophy, and that's kind of having lived through one of them. So that's kind of the second thing is around just understanding that importance. You don't think about that. You think about transactions a little bit more earlier. You just don't know how to kind of deal with that. And with if you're all your relationships making skills, I mean, like it's different than sending an email and being on social media. It's kind of, so I think that's kind of the more fundamental thing. And third, I go back to kind of Richard Feynman, curiosity. If you are generally curious and want to kind of figure out a way to solve something, if you see a problem, try to solve something, it compounds and it takes you far. It takes you a long way. Those are the three things I wish I knew earlier and had a much more clarity on those three things.
Fantastic. I think relationships is one thing I probably learned. I mean, that was one of the earliest things I learned from you for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay. Amresh, so you mentored so many people in your career.
Yeah.
Like if you know one of the if who's like one of the person who has inspired or mentored you the most?
Oh, so many. I mean, Newton has the score that anyone, I mean, like they asked him, like, okay, all the good stuff you've done in science and everything is the kind of question you ask. He's like, yeah, I've done everything, but I've kind of stood on the shoulder of giants. Right? and that's true for every career. That's true for every profession. I mean, whether I have had, I mean, folks, I mean, just from folks in my professors in my undergrad who actually exposed me to AI, or like there was a senior of mine who actually exposed me to AI in '97. I mean, if you think about it, and this was like a I don't even know where he is. I mean, but he was, but yeah. So he's the first time he talked to me about this is what it means. I think I've never ever talked to him after that, but and he was not even a friend. It was like I was having a tea and kind of doing it, but that pretty much changed the course of my career. That one conversation over tea, because I got interested in it and kind of exposed myself into it. So that's kind of think about that. I mean, to my professors who kind of encouraged me to do research in undergrad and allowed me to do that, to be candid, to folks like Adam Gottstein or Bill Abbott, who kind of taught me a lot of the things I was just telling you about, how to think about what is useful, thinking about relationships, thinking about working hard, and showing up. I mean, there are like so many things I've just kind of learned from so many people around.
In some ways, I think about it, Amresh, like almost like your own personality in life is almost like a sum of all the conversations you have across.
Yes, it is, and the people you are with. It's like that's, yeah. So people you're with are the conversations you have, and being humble to implement some of the things that you learn. That's all it is.
And being humble to be able to learn from everybody around you,
exactly.
whether they are juniors or seniors.
Exactly, exactly. We are learning from juniors all the time right now, both of us.
Correct. That's so true. Okay, AuxoAI, Amresh, what's the end game?
The end game is being a very relevant player in the enterprise AI space. Right? If our focus that we are trying to build, and we are successful and are able to help some of the biggest companies in the world with making sense of all the cool technology that is happening, but not only making sense, but translating them into value. One is, that's kind of the core mission, making AI real. Everything else follows from there. If there is value that is generated and we are relevant in creating that value through building services and software together, that will lead to multiple options of end games that we could choose. That's the core thing to do.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so coming to my last question, Amresh. So Kabir, Arvinder, you, all the three co-founders for AuxoAI have very different personalities in very different ways.
Right.
And all of us who have been around, you've seen that. So any lessons for the budding entrepreneurs there in terms of how to manage the dynamics right, and like how to just make sure that you can gel well with the different personalities and take things along forward in the right direction.
No, listen, I think there are some non-negotiables as you are thinking of people you are working with. And the number one non-negotiable is integrity, right? And that's where you want to kind of, kind of working, founding group, core team, everything, whichever way you are trying to figure that out. As long as it's a group of people with high integrity and a hunger to prove themselves, good things will happen, right? So personalities are a reflection of, as you said, uh, who you have met, what you kind of focus on, what you are good at. I mean, obviously, you want to have people who are different, who are good in different ways than you. That's, I think, that always helps, which is, I think, in our case, that's true. But you're also, but it's all on the bedrock of integrity, hunger, and at some point you have to have fun. So some combination of that is kind of essentially what is needed.
Fantastic. Amaresh, thank you so much for sitting and doing this with me today. We have talked about food, fear, future, dreams.
Yes.
And all these conversations reminding me why such conversations have really mattered for me. And
Yeah.
I'm sure the audience will walk away with this conversation a little bit more energized, thoughtful, and like I've always had with all our conversations. So thank you so much again, and I can't be more excited about what we do in AuxoAI together.
Absolutely. Likewise. Thank you so much. It was a lot of fun. A lot of fun having this discussion.
Thank you.